How you doing, man?
I'm doing fantastic.
I didn't think you'd be keeping the mustache this long, and it's worked out. It's been a while now.
Everyone knows the mustache now. You got to keep it, and the headshots are there. Changing a headshot on LA Casting, it's like I might as well try to break into Fort Knox.
You went with the long hair for a while.
Yes.
And then now you go slick back, mustache, Pat Riley of 70s porn. I love it.
Thank you. I had to cut the hair because I literally looked in the rearview mirror of my Cadillac, and I saw my bald head. Like, you can't have a bald head or receding hairline in long hair. I can't do that.
I used to work with a guy who was my program director. He had a balding head and a long hair, and he looked like a Klingon. Like, he was wrinkles. I said, you're 3 wrinkles short of a Klingon on your head. Yeah. If you guys are leaving, I'm shutting your mic off. There you go. All right. Good to see you, man.
Fantastic seeing you. I feel like I see you. You're like one of the only people I see every day on all the social medias. Your family and stuff. It's great.
Yeah,
I think because you're fun, and everyone else I just block for their political stances.
I'm not telling you about my politics. Nobody cares about it. But I do warn everybody. I have 2 social media, 2 Instagrams. I have one for the show, and then one for me, for my family. And I have 1,000 people that are friend requesting me. I go, you don't want to. It's pictures of my dogs, of my kids, of my turtle. They're not things that you want to see. They're not interesting to anybody. So,
I see them all.
Yeah. I know it comes around that way. Where are you coming in from?
I was just in Los Angeles. I was home as of last night.
So you live in L.A.?
I live in L.A.
For some reason, I still think you're in Pittsburgh or somewhere and doing that.
Well, I've always, I spend so much time in New York. Everyone in New York thought I lived there.
Yeah.
And then, I always would say, before COVID switched everything up.
Yeah.
But it was always like a third in L.A., a third in New York, and a third in the ether.
Yeah,
which would be here, Pittsburgh, anywhere else.
Is that a fun life? Because to me, that would, if I didn't, well, you have a daughter but if I didn't have kids, I would love to just be gone.
I love hotel living. All I need is a TV and a shower and one drawer. I don't lose any. Other than that, I just yell at my wife to find my stuff all day long. I never know where anything's at. But if I have a hotel, I have a drawer where everything's in.
I do. I put my medicine in there, my gun in there. Everything goes in one drawer. That's exactly what happens. That's so funny you said, because we just went to Disney this weekend, and it takes everybody an hour to pack. Me, everything's in one drawer. I dump it into my bag, and I'm like, I'm ready to go. I got nothing.
Well, after 28 years on the road, I literally packed for this weekend in like 9 minutes.
Yeah. Now, who do you like? You go out with Burr. You go out with all the good guys.
Yeah. I haven't. I just worked with Bill like a couple months ago. We did a nice weekend in Nashville and Winston-Salem, but I haven't worked with Bill in like a year and a half. It's basically been me headlining almost everywhere, except this weekend I'm only headlining the Saturday show. We get to work with my Pittsburgh great friend, the great Steve Byrne. So we're gonna have a blast.
Steve Byrne is going to be at. I'm so looking forward to having Steve on the show tomorrow, because Steve and I, the last time we saw Steve was the cruise, right?
Right. Yeah.
And Steve almost died on that cruise, and he doesn't even know it.
He was almost murdered.
He was almost murdered on that cruise. My father almost killed Steve Byrne.
Oh, I thought it'd be blood alcohol poisoning.
No, he didn't. He didn't really drink, Steve. Well, he didn't party on this cruise. We didn't see him so much on it. Not in a bad way. I like to, when we bring comics on our cruise, I like to say, go and enjoy yourself. You have one thing to do, and it's the last night. Everything else, just go have a good time. So that's pretty much how Steve was there with his wife. I mean, you hung out with him a little bit, yeah. But no, Steve made a joke about my sister, not knowing it was my sister, and I had to grab my father from going up there and killing Steve. My father doesn't know the difference between comics and Time to Die. Yeah, it was close.
You make fun of my daughter. I don't care if you're George Carlin.
Right. Exactly. And Steve was just being a comic, you know what I mean? He was just being funny. But Tom Calta did not sit well with him, and he was ready to roll. And I went, I never moved so fast to stop him from moving fast. It was pretty insane. And Steve, I think, has no idea. I can't wait to tell him about it.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
So
I love to go on that cruise.
Yeah. Everybody says that, and then I think maybe we should bring more comedians on the cruise. I don't know.
Bigger boat.
Might need a bigger boat. Yeah. Who else is anybody? Does Bert doing another cruise? I wonder. I went on that last year, and that was pretty cool.
Oh, that does sound amazing.
But that's too much. There's too much. Every 5 minutes he had to be somewhere and had to do something. I imagine he's probably like, I'm not doing that anymore. Yeah, you know.
But also, everybody's doing a cruise. Like every comedian, every rock star, every wrestler, everybody does cruises now, and we're on our 18th cruise.
Yeah. We came up with a good idea, and now everybody's doing it. Also, if you go out with somebody like Bert, that was the fattest audience I've ever seen in my life. It was the fattest cruise ship I've ever seen, and I was on it, so I'm not judging. And then everywhere you go, you got to deal with those guys.
It's funny when you're part of the crowd you're making fun of.
Yeah.
Like one time I went to see Dave Matthews, and I'm like, am I an a-hole?
Yeah.
Because everyone else here is.
Right. I'll tell you who the a-holes are. I watched videos of the Sphere in Las Vegas. Have you been there yet?
No.
I'm going there next month for UFC, and I wanted
in the Sphere.
In the Sphere, yes.
Whoa!
So, and I wanted to see it, so I was looking online, and what they're showing now is the Grateful Dead are performing there. If you go to the Grateful Dead, you're not an a-hole. If you're dancing in the aisles, you're an a-hole.
I don't know. You know, I've done a lot of drugs, Mike.
Yeah.
I don't think I can handle that sensory overload for 3 hours. I think I'd be like, man, I've had enough.
What is your drug of choice? Like if you're
that's like saying that, name your favorite dog.
I am not a drug guy. I'd like to do some stuff, but I have paranoid. Like I don't like to be nauseous, and I feel like a lot of these things make you nauseous.
Well, in all whatever you want to say, I haven't done any marijuana of any kind since January 1st.
Oh, did you quit, or are you just like, you know what?
I haven't quit, like I've officially quit, but I just every time I'm like, I feel clear-headed, and I just don't feel like getting that way. I'm dumb enough.
Yeah. And I'm also hungry all the time. I don't need something else making me hungry.
Yeah, I just did like that stoned over feeling, and I feel like I'm so much sharper on stage, and it's almost like if and I drink a lot still, it's almost like when I wake up, I'm fine. If I smoke a lot of pot, then it's almost like 2 days later, I get low-level depression.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense? It's like
yeah.
I kind of, and then if you don't, you're just kind of always in a good mood. You never have that kind of downer feeling.
I don't smoke. I have a couple of times in my life. My son smokes, and I thought, well, that would be it. Maybe we could bond over that. And I can't. I took one hit one time, and it felt like an explosion went off my chest. I was like, oh, I'm dying. I'm dying immediately as soon as I did it. So I can't do that.
These guys keep on telling you to do mushrooms.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that just like I feel like that's going to make me throw up.
But that's supposed to be the good mood stuff.
You take mushrooms?
Yeah. I have taken now they sell them in pellets.
Yeah.
I've taken a couple of those. It's kind of like doing a little Molly, a little ecstasy. Way back in the day, I was not a mushroom guy. To me, I think mushrooms are just kind of like going to the airport. And LSD's getting on the plane. Right. Like mushrooms, you're standing there thinking, but not like, hey, I just met Jimi Hendrix and Jesus. This is remarkable.
There was that scene in Mad Men where the guy takes the LSD and then he gets in his bathtub and he thinks he's in Yankee Stadium, and I thought, okay, that I would appreciate. that I could do. I just don't want to. I don't want the follow up that comes with it. I don't want the thing I don't want to see the devil's bloody face in the mirror. I don't want any of that weird stuff.
Well, two things I'll tell you about the first couple of times you do LSD. One, have enough stimuli. Be outside or be at a concert. Don't be in your bedroom by yourself. And maybe have a Sherpa with you, like someone like me, a Sherpa.
Yep.
That's someone who knows the way. And also, don't have anything on your mind, and a lot of things clear your mind, like a lot of stress, because
this is a tall order, Joe.
As I'm saying, I don't. It's funny. I'm just telling my Uber driver we're talking about LSD, and I'm like, "You're old now. Like, don't even. You missed the boat. Maybe you don't need to do it. It's like, do you need to ride the roller coaster now?
Yeah, there are things. I'm not doing LSD. I can tell you that. Okay. I went to the weed store in California. That is so convenient that I think if I lived there, I'd probably want to do that more often, because you could just walk in there and just buy stuff.
Yeah, and I also think that's a nice thing too. Like the gummies, like the little 0.5s.
Yeah,
they're real nice, because like a 5-point gummy is like, you can drive your kid to school. The traffic don't seem that bad.
Yeah.
And if you run into the teacher, it's okay.
You didn't make a fool of yourself. All right, I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. That makes me feel a lot better.
You take 4, you can hang out with your mom all day long. Incident free.
Yeah, I did take a 0.5 at a family gathering, and they were all going around asking a question, well, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. And everybody looked at me, and I was like, whatever. Yeah. Instead of fighting with everybody, I was like, we'll do whatever you guys want to do. So yeah, they do come in handy. Now, let me ask you, you're going to be at the Wesley Chapel, or are you going to be just with Steve?
I'm at the regular.
Brian, Just this weekend?
Yes.
Okay, so you're just here early.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm all weekend with Steven, but Saturday I'm doing the 6 o'clock show. I'm headlining.
Oh, okay,
so you get
that's
an
what it
hour of me.
Gotcha. Joe is a very funny comedian and a great guy. I have never met anybody in the business that was like, oh, Bartnick. Nobody. I mean, those guys like to talk crap about each other, but everybody loves you.
Thank you. That's such a nice thing to say because my grandfather was that way. Like, no one had a bad thing to say. I try to be nice to everybody.
Maybe I started wrong. I started on the opposite end. Like, I started out being a dick at first. Now I'm a nice guy. But in the beginning, I was like, I started out just hating everybody. But as you get older, you realize, no, that's not the right way to be.
But also, don't you kind of have to be that way? Even though comedy's cutthroat, isn't radio cutthroat? Don't you have to kind of go and crack some skulls?
Radio's made me a terrible person. It really has over the years.
Made you a rich one.
Yeah. It's a good balance.
Yeah.
I'll take it for sure. I guess I went into it thinking that like now all the competition and the people that are on, I'm like, oh, I like that guy. But in the beginning, if you weren't with us, you were against us. And you had to die.
But I think that's the way it is, though.
Yeah.
And it's funny because now, now a lot of comedians are very like, oh, we love everybody. But they weren't that way back before they were that.
No. What about hockey? You still doing the podcast?
Oh, I got 2 hocky podcasts now, so to make everyone mad. Can you talk about anything besides hockey? No, I don't.
It's a hockey podcast.
Yeah.
It's a hockey podcast. The original Puck Off, the one you've been on. Thanks for coming on. It was a pleasure having you.
At the end of my appearance, did you ever look at the other guys and go, this guy doesn't know anything about hockey?
No, because you're a huge Tampa Bay Lightning fan. We love the Lightning.
Yeah.
And you're the biggest. You're like the mayor of Tampa. We loved having you on.
Now we have the rights to the hockey for the radio station, so we run the games.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Which is great because like DV in Pittsburgh has done that for years. I thought, wouldn't that be great to be have this talk station that we have that aims towards guys and all this stuff, and then boom, also have hockey. So we finally got that worked out. It's been a great partnership.
I bet. I mean, it's a model franchise.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's the other?
The other one is with the number one beat writer for the Penguins, Josh Yohe. We got put together. Like, hey, he wants to do a podcast with you. We want to do it. So not only is it great having the second podcast, it's great just having the Penguins number one beat writer.
Yeah.
I get to talk to. Like, I got my own inside information.
I got to tell you, that's if you're a fan, that's great.
Yeah, it's like a dream come true. So we're having fun with it.
You go to a lot of the games?
I probably go to like 5 to 10. The Kings are my mistress team.
That's what I was going to say. Who's your team in LA?
Yeah, the Kings. I love every team but the Flyers. I just love hockey.
Spoken like a true hockey fan.
Yeah.
Do you think it's like, I don't know, when I see these teams like everybody hates the Yankees, it's just because they were so good? The Flyers are just dirty.
Yeah, the Flyers. The thing is, the Penguins and the Flyers. It's like the Hatfields and the McCoys. I mean, it goes back to the 70s.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
And they actually treated Lemieux with respect, but they're so jealous of Crosby.
Yeah,
and jealousy is not a good look on anybody. It's like the Steeler fans used to hate Brady when he was in New England. It's like that's like everyone else hating Crosby. It just makes you look bad.
Yeah,
because the guy's
it's a frustration level though. Yeah. You get to a point where you're like, yeah, the guy's so great, we're never going to get that. We never. It's like when you're a Yankee fan. We had Pete Alonso on, who plays for the Mets, and I was like, as good as you are and as good as the Mets can be, do you always feel like you're the redheaded stepchild to the Yankees? Like in New York, no matter how good the Mets are at one point, it's still the second to the Yankees.
Yeah, and it doesn't. I know Judge is amazing, but it just seems weird not having Jeter and Mariano there. Like it still doesn't feel like they're playing baseball anymore.
I retired from baseball when they did. I mean, I don't even like not just the Yankees. I don't like the sport anymore.
I feel the same way. It's like I'm one of like a few other people feel the same way as I do, and you do now. It's like we're like a band of brothers that all can't. If I sit through 3 pitches, I'm like my head's gonna explode from boredom.
The only interest I have in baseball now is because Hard Rock has a betting app here, and Galvin has been betting on over-unders on baseball. He's got me betting on baseball, and I don't know anything about it. I'm just looking at it and going, oh, they're not going to score 2 more runs by the end of this game.
3 months ago, I didn't know anything about baseball. Now I know everybody's stats.
Yeah, you know the burger?
Yeah.
No, but I don't know. I think I grew up such a big fan of the Yankees and so into all those players that when they all left, I was like, I think I'm done now. It's just like all my guys are gone. And Judge is great, but not enough to keep me watching.
Yeah, I this is like my summer of discontent because the Penguins didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
And it's just like, so it's an extra 2 weeks of summer until the Steelers. it's like these are the times to try men's souls. No hockey, no football.
Will the Steelers be you good with Russell Wilson?
I mean, other than Rudolph saving the over/under,
Yeah.
which saved Christmas.
Yeah.
I mean, they just had to go 9-7, and like they lost to 2-10 teams like right around Thanksgiving. I'm like, you're kidding me.
Calvin's a huge Steelers fan, so we always have to keep
you
an
had
eye
We've
on it.
talked because Joe put out my favorite tweet of all time is when we were playing against the Browns in the playoffs, and it looked like the Keystone Cops where they snapped the ball and it went over Roethlisberger's head, and it was like 3 minutes in and we're down like 20 points. It was ridiculous, and he put out, did they play Renegade yet? Which Renegade by Styx is their big hype song.
Yeah.
I started laughing. I was so mad, and I saw that, and I started laughing. I go, thank God for Joe.
A few people felt the same way. Yeah, there had to be a tension release. But like last year, they were terrible until Rudolph came in and literally saved. Because at 9-7, you think Tom's going to go 9-7. You put your life savings on there, and all of a sudden they lose to 2-10 teams, and you're like, you got to be kidding me. So God bless Rudolph. Russell Wilson's going to be better than that. I think the biggest acquisition, though, is we got that Queen guy from Baltimore.
I don't know.
He's a middle linebacker.
Yeah, he's really good. And to come from Baltimore to the Steelers is a wild move because that's a big rivalry.
Because if you're a huge Steeler fan, you know this. I used to start going to games in the 70s. Steeler football is knocking someone's head off.
Right. Yeah.
And last year, we didn't have guys that were knocking people's head offs. This guy, Queen, knocks people's heads off. So welcome to the black and gold industry. He's already talking trash about Baltimore, too. So
I'm so excited just for the football. Like, this is the worst time ever because these next 3-4 weeks feel like they last 6 months of waiting for real football to start.
Yeah,
it's a nice little touch to be able to watch preseason games, but you're like, Jesus, let's just get on with it already.
Yeah, after the first drive, it's like, okay, this guy was at Trader Joe's next week.
That's true. We do such a huge tailgate down here for with Bud Light, and right outside the stadium, we have food, we have everything. Like it really makes it for a great football weekend.
You guys have a great stadium for football. What do you have? Like it's like Vegas, where me and Verzi got those like 9 yards of margaritas.
Yeah. That's right. Verzi was here.
Yeah.
But here's the one thing: that's great from November on. From September through early November, it's 9,000 degrees while you sit in that stadium. That's the one thing. That's why when everybody's bitching about the Rays getting a new stadium and they want we want an outdoor stadium, not a dome. You've not sat in an outdoor stadium for baseball before. If you're screaming that, it's the worst heat you'll ever have to deal with. Now sit there for 9 innings. It's ridiculous.
That's the thing with baseball. After like 3 beers and 2 hot dogs, I start counting outs.
Yeah.
Like there's 7. Then I started wondering when I can bother the guy who drove. Like, hey, why do you think we beat the traffic?
That's enough, right? We've seen enough.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Joe Bartnick is here. He is going to be at Side Splitters this weekend, 960-1197, along with Steve Byrne. And he'll be headlining the 6 o'clock show on Saturday. Do you remember where we met first?
I think we met on this. Well, I don't think I was on air yet, but I hung out when Lampanelli came to see your old studio.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about her. What does she do now? Anything? I know she's rich, and she's
just kind of chilling out.
Like she's not still touring or anything.
No, she was hinting at. I don't know. I think she was thinking about maybe doing something.
Right.
Because she almost came to see me. I was headlining the Stress Factory, Connecticut, which is, I guess, a block from her house or 2 blocks from her house. She goes, I live like 3 minutes from there. But she never did come. I didn't bother her. But she'll still text me when she sees like stuff with my daughter, and she's like tight with my family. She's a lovely lady. I mean, she's the best.
I like her. We get along. We didn't. We had a period where we were fighting, but that was when we didn't know you. And people would tell us, they're like, Joe Bartnick writes all our jokes, and blah, blah, blah. And we got on the air. And then when we met you at Steve Byrne's show at Sullivan & Son, you were like, hey, guys, you're killing my gig, man. Can I ask you?
Sure. Ask me anything, Mike.
Well, here's where. And
this is like hot wings.
This is not just for you. I ask a lot of comedians, does it bother you when... I know Lisa Lampanelli built her career. She did. I used to put her on the air back when I was on the country station, like so long ago, when she really couldn't put asses in seats at Side Splitters, and everybody was afraid of her because she was mean and all that. And she was great on the radio. She was fun to hang out with, and I liked her. And this is before she had been on Howard and all that. But when you write jokes for somebody else, and then they have huge success with them, do you care, or are you like, well, I already got paid, so that's my end of the deal? Or are you like, God damn it, that was my job. I could have done that kind of stuff. Or are you just writing for her?
Well, when I was driving my beautiful Cadillac, I loved every second of it.
That's what I'm saying. Is that the job?
That's the job, and writing all those roast jokes was like, I'm happy to get the paycheck. I'm not on the roast.
Yeah.
The only thing I did not like about the roast, and this is like, because she did every roast for Playboy, Howard, everything. You just get in this mindset. That's why I don't write any roast jokes at all. I don't do anything anymore. You get in this mindset of such being so mean and angry that you can't even have a sensible, nice thought. You're just immediately going to the darkest part of your brain. So but no, I was very happy. I think only once did I ever write something, and I even told her, and she goes, "Keep it."
No, really?
Yeah, because the only time I would ever help her with her stand-up would be like like a month before her special. We go to a club and like, "Hey, watch my set," and stuff like that.
I worked with another guy when I first started in radio, and he was not capable of doing anything on his own. So if he was doing an interview, I would have to write, not only do the prep for the interview, but then write the first 10 questions. And after a while, I was like, why am I doing this for somebody else when I could be doing it for myself? I'm clearly capable of doing this. Why when and that's always what I wondered when people are writing. The Stengels used to write for David Letterman. They were good friends of ours. And they write for a lot of these award shows and things like that. And I thought that would just bug me. I think I'd always in the back of my mind being, I could do this. But then again, you do it, and you do it well, and you're still making money on the other thing. So I get it.
Well, I mean, it's like I'm never going to need, like, I'm banging black guys material.
You're past that?
Yeah. You never know. I heard Diddy has some parties. You never know.
Well, or if I get if they send me to prison. But you know what I mean?
True.
So it's like it never crossed over.
You're
now, like,
just writing for her.
Yeah. I mean, a few other people I've done some projects with, but I've never really written any, like, straight white guy
right
stand up, because that's way too. Well, actually, I was helping Rob Riggle put together an hour one time, and then he just got too famous. He was like, I'm gonna do an hour stand up, and I'm like, cool, because I was helping him write on some stuff, and he goes, help me do this, and he was putting some ideas together, and then literally he never did. He became a movie star.
Yeah, it worked out for him. He bugs me on the Fox football stuff. Like it's not so much his fault. It was like I think after a while we don't need comedy with football anymore.
Yeah,
I'd rather just see the football.
I got fired after the first year.
Did you really?
Yeah, because I write jokes.
Yeah.
And I don't watch movies.
Yeah.
And everything was a movie parody of a movie I never saw.
Yeah.
So I had nothing to add.
Nobody's laughing at that stuff. If they would have, like, if they do something where they bring in guys and do good guy humor, that's fun stuff. But if they're just, I don't know, that whole, you're right, the movie parodies and Rob Riggle
it always seems like they're trying too hard.
Yeah.
And you don't need it. Yeah, you don't need,
like when
funny.
Kimmel did it, Kimmel was part of the group, so he was just a funny part of the group. And I liked Frank Caliendo. Frank Caliendo had the Madden and all the other stuff, but there's sometimes it's like you said, it's forced.
Well, I mean, both Kimmel, Caliendo jokes.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to shoehorn these jokes, and it's not part of the parody. And the Christmas party was nice.
What? Yeah. I'm sure. Although I did go out to see Sapp one time when Warren Sapp was doing. It was Sapp and Steve Mariucci and I don't know, it was a bunch of guys, but I can't remember. I was in L.A. and before I left, I went by the studio to watch them do it. And I thought, this is how you spend the Sunday. This is the greatest thing, because all I did was watch football games, and every once in a while, somebody would be like, "All right, camera over here, we're doing the thing," and then they talk for a couple minutes, and then go back to watching the games. I thought, this is fun.
And the catering's amazing.
Catering, yeah.
The other most amazing thing is how beautiful a man Michael Strahan is after being awake for like 92 hours straight. You're like, how do you look like this? You were on like TV every day with Kelly.
That's called cocaine. That's how he does.
Well, that's like the good stuff. That's like
Michael Strahan. I'm thinking of Michael, the other, what's his face, Michael from the Cowboys. Irvin.
Oh, Irvin.
No, you're right. Strahan is just a.
He's an incredible human being.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the good Adderall.
Yeah. Michael Irving is one of the best guests that's ever been on the show.
Oh, I bet.
We interviewed him. I actually think I have a picture somewhere around here, and I have a picture of him because it's him, and he's just holding my head like as if it was a trophy. It's fantastic. All right. Well, what do you got coming up after Tampa? What are you working on?
Tampa. Let's see.
You still touring, or are you
yeah,
just go out on the road?
just everywhere. I have a couple weeks back in LA, just doing like Ice House and improv and Comedy Magic, and then I'll be in Philly and just
I
everywhere.
forget you're in LA, Joe. I got to call you next time I go out there. I bet you I've been there and
Please
you were
do.
there. Yeah,
It'd be
There's
fun.
like a couple of people that I really like that I'm interested in seeing when I go to LA, and I forget that you're there, man.
And I don't call you because I figure you're busy. If you were, you'd call me if you guys,
Yeah, I will be on top of that for sure. Great to see you, Joe Bartnick. Go see Joe with Steve Byrne this weekend at Side Splitters, and Saturday headlining the early show at 6:00 on his own. Very funny comedian, great guy. You'll love him, and he has no jokes about him banging black guys. I promise you. Thank you, Joe.